Hey guys, welcome back to Not One Videos. Today's video is completely different from my normal style of content. Before I go any further, that was not a clickbait title. I am going to get on to what I think the point of wargaming conventions is when I wrap up at the end of this video. But first I'm going to take a look at the day itself, and remember, I'm coming at this as a complete noob. Everything is new to me. I decided to get some footage of the day, chat to a few people and get a feel for the wargaming community in the UK. Now, I'm pretty new to wargaming in general. My experience so far amounts to Dungeons and Dragons, and more recently I have been exposed to Warhammer through some of my friends who are heavily into the game. So what I wanted to do as a complete noob to the world of tabletop wargaming was to just see what was available and to see if anything else had triggered my interest and to see if the conventions themselves still have a point. Okay, so where do I begin talking about what I saw on my day out? I mean, there is so much variety. It turns out, if you can imagine the scenario either fantasy based or historical, someone out there has probably thought of a way to turn it into an awesome tabletop game. The things that all of these games have in common are miniatures, dice, beautifully made gaming terrain boards, and above all else, people who are completely passionate about their game to the core. I spent the day wandering around from game to game, just fascinated about the fact that each game represented a particular niche of taste within the wider niche of tabletop wargaming. There's something for absolutely everyone. Sci-fi, fantasy, World War II, air-based combat, land-based combat, war room style strategy games, actual historical battle scenarios, swashbuckling pirate adventures, games that are played on massive terrain boards and games that are played on small terrain. The list goes on. So I love building terrain, but my primary focus is the artistic endeavour of creating a miniature or a diorama and making it look as realistic as I can make it and bringing those fantasies in my own head to life. Here at Salute, the focus is all about the game. The terrain, although important, is just a way to make the game more immersive for the players. That being said, the focus, time and attention that goes into building these gaming boards can only come down to one thing, and that is passion. Each table represents hours of dedication, but also the understanding of their own game and what terrain would best suit the encounters that the players would engage in. There were a few pieces that really jumped out to me in the day. I absolutely love this piece of terrain by Anvil Industries, which was being used to display some of their wargaming miniatures. They produce high quality minis that can be used in a variety of games, but what attracted me to their stall was the display itself. It made me want to play, which is exactly what terrain is supposed to do in my opinion. I also had the very cool opportunity of viewing some of Luke from Geek Gaming Scenic's terrain, his most recent terrain build on his channel in fact. To see what Luke produces up close and in person was awesome. The attention to detail is brilliant and the topography is on point, and the flocking in the trees, well, you can see for yourself, they just look so realistic. This is detailed diorama quality work, but durable enough to really play on. In terms of terrain on the day, there's no doubt that this was by far the most realistic game board on display in terms of representing nature. I kind of wanted to have a demo game on it, but I couldn't get a look in. People were just playing on this thing all day long. You can see how Luke built this terrain over on his channel, so I will make sure to leave a link in the description below. I spoke to quite a few people on the day who had been developing their own games. For instance, the designer of the XCOM tabletop game. A game based on the original XCOM computer game that was beautifully crafted into a playable piece of terrain complete with a whole set of rules, mechanics and dice rolling system. And for any of you sci-fi nerds, I think you can get hold of the game via their Facebook page, which I will leave in the link below. There were a couple of smaller game developers that I chatted to who were making games in an aesthetic that I personally found appealing. One in particular called Drowned Earth, which I thought was awesome. Dinosaurs, terrain and adventure, what more could you want? So I thought I would let these guys tell you a little bit about their own game and how it works. Keep in mind it was a noisy convention centre, but it's still really cool.
Hey, so this is the Drowned Earth miniatures game, and you can see there's a table of pared down scenery. This is normally a 3x3 game. We've got a demo table on a 2x2, so I'll just take you through how the basic core mechanics. So it doesn't matter whether you are climbing up things, shooting things, any kind of test works in the same way. You've got attribute, you're rolling 2d10. One is called the attribute die, and the other one is called the feat die. It's got a special symbol, we'll come to that in a minute. So what you're looking for is for the attribute die to be under your attribute. So let's say this guy, Blue Wing, he's going to climb up here and attack the Utahraptor. Yep, so that is an agility skill, so his agility is 6. And he's looking for a 6 or under on that dice. Yep. Let's just say he made it. Yeah. And now, additionally, he's looking for a 6 or under on this die to do it really well. Okay. So effectively, he's passed. Now we're looking to see whether he can nail it. So he can't. What that means is that his movement distance is 4x7. He's moved 4 inches, so he's climbed 4 inches up. If he'd succeeded on both dice, he would have nailed it. He would have gone the full 7. If he rolled a feat, which is that symbol, he would have gone the 7 inches, but he also would have got his action point back, so he'd be able to continue to do something. For example, hit the Utahraptor in the face. Simple as that. Very cool. Killing this little guy.
There was also another small game that I really liked the look of called Planet 28. Coming from a background of D&D, this automatically looked like a game I would find easy to jump into. An easy game to introduce people to tabletop gaming.
Hi, so this is Planet 28. It's a sort of generic, whatever minis you've got, kind of sci-fi skirmish system. It's a bit kind of plug and play narrative focus, so we've got a few expansions. It's really basic, really easy. Uses your standard role-playing dice, D10, your polyhedrals for weapon damage, 3 to 10 miniatures aside, playable in about half an hour to an hour, and really it's whatever you want to use, it can do it.
I also had a few conversations with people about the actual building of their terrain. This guy's called Nobby Clark, and all of the buildings that you see on this gaming table were built by him from scratch. So I asked him to share a little bit of how he pieced it all together.
So everything is pretty much polystyrene cake rounds.
Very good.
Or fake cake rounds. Well, this one has been profiled just to match this part, just to fit in.
Nice.
And then it's a simple paint with masonry paint and maybe a little bit of chinchilla dust, chinchilla sand.
Okay.
The roofs are cereal box cups.
Yeah.
The cross bridge, which is only one in the picture here, is simply foam board. The windows are plumber's fibre washers.
Yep.
Stuck on paper and stuck on the building.
Nice.
The only odd one, I think, is the sort of viewing window.
Oh, that's really nice.
Front, and then
marble,
it's simply a half marble painted on the back and then mounted.
And then these little, I can see that
Right,
that's
so
a polystyrene ball.
That's a polystyrene quarter ball, and this is cork strips.
Very cool.
Okay, so anyone who has been following my channel for a while, you will know that I am a massive fan of Skyrim. So when I came across the Elder Scrolls Call to Arms game table, I kind of camped out there for a while. The terrain was really cool, and Ethan and Gavin happily talked me through the rules and the game mechanics. This game is so cool. Basically, if you like Skyrim, you're going to love this. The mechanics are very much like Skyrim, with how your magicka health and stamina depletes, etc., and also how it regenerates. It's a skirmish-based short encounters game, and the minis are absolutely awesome. With Christmas around the corner, I might just be treating myself to this because I want to play. Also, I really want to paint up some of these minis and put them into the terrain that I've already built. If you haven't seen any of my Skyrim builds, be sure to check them out.
So I've just seen someone I recognise. He hasn't seen me yet.
Hey, Mark, how you doing, buddy?
I'm pretty good.
Another one of my highlights for the day was that my friend Joe from Encounter Terrain had a table set up for his new venture, Encounter Prints. He prints off minis for D&D for people who don't have their own printers, and he had a great selection on the day, perfect for anyone who was looking to fill up their gaming table taverns and terrain with townsfolk and creatures at low cost. I've just recently gotten into 3D printing, and Joe's helped me out with choosing resins and other helpful tips. I walked away with this super cool boulder carrying giant who sits perfectly into my standing stones scatter terrain, and I'm really looking forward to getting him painted up. Joe also makes some awesome vertical terrain for D&D, which you can check out on his Instagram. I'll leave links for Encounter Terrain and Encounter Prints down below. Talking of minis though, there were minis everywhere, something for every taste that you can imagine. It would be pretty easy to turn up on the day and spend hundreds of pounds without batting an eyelid. There was even a table with hordes of pre-printed unwanted minis going at bargain prices, and I was very tempted, but really I want to paint my own. I found one table, Wargaming Terrain Workshop, with a guy who sculpts his own minis by hand, and I had a great chat about the process of making them. I think that they look really cool, perfect for fantasy games like D&D. Aside from all the obvious tabletop gaming stuff, there was other cool stuff going on too. There was a speed painting competition, which I briefly considered entering, but then I saw people smashing out minis faster than I can prime them, so I thought better of it. I didn't come here to embarrass myself today. There was also their annual painting competition, which was open to anyone to submit minis in different categories, which I thought was really cool for hobby painters to be able to have their work viewed by their peers and to have a chance at winning this bad boy. So there is lots going on and lots to see. Unless you have been going to conventions for decades and have become a little jaded over time, I really find it hard to see why you wouldn't enjoy a wargaming convention. I even met some people who love the whole world of tabletop gaming so much that they have taken their passion to another level and play their games in full-on cosplay regalia. I mean, check out this badass costume with functioning wings. Awesome. I had a chat with the guys from 601 ST Warhammer Cosplay Troop. They make all of their own costumes from scratch and they look awesome. This is the kind of passion that inspires me. People who love their games and love to make stuff coming together to hang out and show off at conventions. To some it might seem like the nerdiest of the nerdy, but to me it's the coolest of the cool. Right, let's get back to the title of the video and wrap this thing up. So there we go guys, that is my overview of Salute 2021 from my perspective. I had a really good day. The reason why I called this video What's the Point in Wargaming Conventions is I have heard a little bit of negative comments here and there about wargaming conventions. Some people thinking that they're dying out, some people complaining about not getting good deals there anymore, these sorts of things, but none of that was at the forefront of my concern in going. I was going to discover new games and meet people who were into the same sort of things that I'm into, and everyone I met on the day were just absolutely awesome people and were happy to chat with me, and yeah, we just enjoyed the hobby together. So that's the point of wargaming conventions to me. It's to go and actually meet with like-minded people and yeah, have a good time. I think that if you're going to go to a convention, you probably want to be in a positive frame of mind before you're going to go. If you're thinking ahead, I don't want to go, or if you're thinking ahead something negative, you're probably not going to get out of the day what you want to get out of the day. But if you're excited to meet people and you're excited to go and do your game or introduce the whole world to your game or that convention, I think that you can have an awesome time, and especially people who are new to it. I think that like more people who are on the fringes of wargaming, like D&D and that kind of thing, would absolutely love it. You can go there, you can get great deals, but more than that, you can open your mind up to new games that are for the tabletop. For me, like the Skyrim game, that's totally awesome. I love it. And also the Drowned Earth game. Those are both games that I think I would just really enjoy to play. And I'm going to get the rule sets and I'm going to build some terrain and I'm going to try and play these games. So that's a big win for me for the day. Anyway, that's the point. To go and have fun. That's what the whole hobby's about, is having fun. And whenever you go to a convention, it's still about having fun. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Before I go, I just want to say a massive thanks as always to my patrons. You guys are absolutely awesome, and I do have some updates coming over on Patreon very soon for you guys. And also, I'm going to be coming back to my regular hobby terrain building style content in my next video. Alright guys, I really hope you enjoyed the video, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Thanks so much. Bye.